This week we'll be talking about Star Wars KOTOR remake being put in Carbonite. Facebook Meta Quest 2 will be more expensive very soon. A new Black Panther game will come out of EA. Interesting. New GTA 6 details. Hoyoverse giving us a first look at Genshin Impact's new area, Sumeria. Sumeria, not Subaru, and Sumeria. Unicorn Gundam lands in GBO2, and we have first impressions from As Dust Falls and SD Gundam Battle Alliance, not Alliance, and more on Season 6, Episode 29 of Press X Start Podcast. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka it is no longer BDE, it is NTD.
What the NTD stand for?
New type. Ding dong.
Well, I'm your heavyweight champion from Wish Nigga Wood, California, aka the Gender Because We Watch Niggas, aka Tommy Fickles, Marcus Ellison.
Oh my God. Tommy
I
Fickles.
am Sean M.F. Ross.
What the MF stand for?
I'm here to keep Tommy Pickles in the playpen.
Nobody puts Tommy Pickles in the corner.
He's a menace.
Oh my gosh.
But his name ain't Dennis.
Oh, look at us with the hip hoppiness. Oh my gosh.
Hi everyone, I'm Avery. I'm just gonna try to keep it moving. We're on a time schedule crunch. This is the second time we're doing this. I'm just letting everyone know this.
Right.
Damn it.
Gotta keep him honest. Gotta keep people honest.
This is true.
These jokes were bad the first time they used them.
Oh, come on. Tommy Pickles went over really well.
Oh, it did.
Oh my gosh. Also, NTD is filled with face magic. Press X Start Podcast is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games we are playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. It's our point of view. Yes, it is. With that being said, now you know who we are. We can jump into hold up. Like the quick hits. Avery, take it away.
Hey everyone, it's me, Avery. Gonna keep it quick, try to make these hitting. Anyway, this is our first story. It is from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg.com. Had me out here lagging like DJ. The joke you all missed the first time, I'm gonna bring it up because that shit is hilarious and there's no context for it. This man called us a Lucas show. That's why me and Marcus were laughing so hard in the episode and the sequence that no one's gonna be able to hear or understand. But I'm bringing it back because my own flubs have reminded me of DJ's own flubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one out here talking, fucking up my words.
Anyway, burn them all down, King.
Appreciate it. Anyway, the first story is from Jason Schreier. It's from Bloomberg.com. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game paused amid studio shakeup. So, if you all remember during the PlayStation 5 reveal event showcase, they show off a bunch of brand new games that they planned for the first calendar year of the PlayStation 5. Most of that hasn't panned out, but pandemic be damned. But one of the games they showed off was a Knights of the Old Republic remake out of a studio known as Aspire. Aspire is pretty much known as a port house for Star Wars games. So it's as if they're not like not familiar with Star Wars games, but the more educated sort of pundits within the video game landscape were like, they're a port house, a AAA version of a Knights of the Old Republic is somewhere around the same terms of scalability as a Final Fantasy VII remake in regards to what is expected out of that game. And so they were questioning this decision. Well, it turns out their questioning was smart and on the money. Aspire has not done a good job with this remake. Reportedly, they fired 2 of their senior designers on the game. Their internal demo builds that they've sent to both Sony and Disney have not been received well. And all reporting is that the game was supposed to be coming out next year, but with the level of work they need to do for it, it's not. It will 2025 is the earliest we'll see it. So this is the game has been put on indefinite hold. Further rumors and speculation is the game's being taken from Aspire and being given to another studio. I believe the one everyone pegged is Saber Interactive, which I think is actually Aspire is part of Saber. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's weird that like the way that this is going down, because from what I've heard was that the actual studio itself thought that the build that they were sending to Sony and LucasArts was a solid build. So for them to think that way, and then Sony and Lucas are just like, no, this is not good at all. Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that discussion to see exactly what went down.
Yeah, like honestly, I was looking forward to it because I've never played KOTOR before, but through
Yeah, me
all the
neither.
tea leaves that I've read, I've seen that the general consensus is that it's quite possibly the best Star Wars game ever made. And it's sort of like that BioWare style where, you kind of can make certain choices and go down different paths. And I generally enjoy that style of RPG. So I was looking forward to it, but uh, now who knows it come out, but we gonna see.
Yep.
Okay,
This is
so
very disappointing. I couldn't wait to not play this game.
okay, our next story is it's two-piece story. It's a story in two parts. Our first one is from IGN. This is from Taylor Lyles. The Meta Quest is getting $100 price increase, and I'm combining this with a drop from the PlayStation.Blog. This is from Yasuo Takahashi. Early look at the user experience for PlayStation VR2. So the TLDR is that the Meta Quest, which is the best and most cost-effective. Oh, it's not the best. It's the most cost-effective VR headset on the market. Is suddenly getting an increase of $100.
Why?
Facebook said. I'm sorry. Meta has said that it's because cost of production on the machine has risen in a way that the only way for it to maintain profitability is for them to increase it. I'm also of the mindset that they were the cheapest headset on the market. They've been the cheapest headset on the market for years now. No one else is coming anywhere close to their price point. There's absolutely no competition for them to keep it that low. No one else is so like
That's a good point.
AKA the market will bear it.
Yeah. I combined it with the Sony VR2 situation in that before Meta came out and with the Quest, the PlayStation VR headset was the cheapest headset out there, and this bad news for Meta users might be good news for Sony users in regards to the VR2 headset, in that it's starting to sound really good, and if Sony can keep it under a
400, I'd say.
Around a 400 price point, then like it might have a leg up in terms of success. I don't think it's going to be able to beat Quest because of the way Quest works, but
It's all inclusive.
it's going to have a better leg up in regards to the greater VR ecosystem. But yeah, some of the things they've added to the PSVR 2 is that there's a see-through view now, so you can put the headset on your head and actually see what's going on outside of you. I mean, outside of the headset now, instead of having to take it on and off to be aware of your environment.
Yeah.
They've got more. I guess they got better streaming technology in it, so like you'll be able to broadcast yourself while you're playing, which
That's really cool.
which is interesting. The thing I'm more interested in is the customized play area, where now you, as a person inside of it, can designate the play area that you're going to be using. So you no longer, I'm taking from this that you will no longer need a like 10 by 10 foot area to use it comfortably. And now you'll be able to, like, in my little nook here, I can make a boundary here and use it within that boundary safely, which is interesting, which is good. And then they have reformatted its VR mode and cinematic mode, so you'll be able to wear it as a separate screen for your PlayStation 5 device. Most people pointed out that most of these features are features that are already present in the Quest, but it's nice that the PSVR2 is keeping up with the technological improvements in the VR space.
Yeah. I'll be really interested to see exactly how much this costs, because I feel like this is going to, for the fact that it has this kind of level of technology, and I don't know if Sony really feels like taking it on the chin in terms of the cost for this. I'll be really interested to see
The
exactly how much it's
PS5
gonna
is already profitable. I don't see why they wouldn't charge
Yeah, I don't think this
400
will
to
be. Yeah,
430.
I don't think they're charged more for the PSVR, which requires the PlayStation 5 to run, than the PlayStation 5. So I think 500
Oh
is
yeah,
the hard.
yeah.
Yeah, 500 is the
Yeah, oh
hard
yeah.
cap. And then the last VR headset was profitable at launch at
Yeah.
400. So I'm like
Yeah,
in
and
my
that was the
head,
price for
True.
PS4
That's
Pro as
true.
well.
yeah. So in my head, I think 400 is a good time. All these new
Yeah.
features are stuff that's already been present in other headsets. So it's not like they're building new tech for it.
Right.
The only thing I want out of the VR2 headset is that unlock it from the PS5.
Use it
If
with your
it's a
PC.
if it's a headset you can use with any PC, that makes it instantly more competitive with other VR headsets.
That's a good point.
And then if it keeps it at that 400 price point, which I think it will be, then it will be a more favorable headset for.
I think you could use the first one with the PC, couldn't you?
You probably
I don't.
can, but it requires you to throw
Extra
loops and
shit.
extra shit. It's
You
not like a plug
you
and play
probably
feature.
can now, but on launch, I don't think you could. I think it was just locked for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is because we actually didn't. This isn't on our news list, but there was the list that they put out every now and then about, oh, these things are selling, like the Xbox Series X and S are like the quote unquote market leader right now, and PlayStation.
Shout out to Xbox selling a lot in Japan. Just I'm gonna put it out there. As someone who's laughed at how bad Xbox has been doing in Japan, it has been
Mhm.
fascinating to watch the Xbox Series X, not the Series X, Series
Series
S
S,
do
yeah,
well
yeah,
in Japan.
wow.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of
like,
shocking.
yeah, I just wonder what this all will mean in terms of how PlayStation will position the PSVR 2, because like it's really going to only, you can really only get it for if you have a PS5. So because the number of PS5s are limited to how much they can produce, and like the whole supply chain issue, this is all just going to be a fascinating story. So we'll see.
So this is some cinema talk for all you cinema heads out there who love the video game adaptations. This is from Umberto Gonzalez from The Wrap. Tomb Raider bidding war erupts as MGM loses movie rights. So everyone remembers that I think 4 or 5 years ago, Alicia Vikander did the Tomb Raider film, which is a solid adaptation of the first game in the Tomb Raider reboot, except they removed all the supernatural shit and made it a more generic sort of action survival thriller. I say like the first half of that movie is the first half of that is the game, which is fantastic. Then afterwards it's just like this is just a sort of a generic sci-fi thing. Long story
Big
short,
old waste of Walton Goggins.
Long story short, they were like, it was in development hell whether we were getting a sequel. Alicia Vikander was attached to it. Everything looked like it was going to happen as of like last year, but because MGM, I guess like had cold feet, they lost the movie rights, and now everyone is trying to buy. Well, I'm not going to necessarily say everyone because I don't necessarily know how attractive the Tomb Raider film rights are, but people are. It's now an open bidding war for who wants these rights.
Mm.
Which is exasperated now by the fact that Square Enix, I don't think, owns the Tomb Raider rights at all anymore because they sold those off with the game studio, Crystal Dynamics. So
Yeah.
like, it's in Crystal's ballpark to see what happens with Tomb Raider going forward.
And Crystal's owned by Embracer Group now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Press
Yeah.
X bids $1.
We could do better than that, Sean. $1.50.
Final offer.
Right.
Take it or leave it.
No cap. I don't think there's going to be another Tomb Raider movie for another 10 years.
Yeah.
The original Angelina ones were doing a good job embracing the original tone. The Alicia Vikander solo project was embracing the sequel tone. So like anyone trying to make a new Tomb Raider would be A, doing some repeat shit, or B, trying to make something up whole cloth. And whether that will work, I don't know. So this more than likely is just going to be on ice for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, plus it's not like people are really clamoring for a Tomb Raider movie, so
We just
like
got one. It's called Uncharted. It's a solid movie.
Exactly.
exactly,
That's so
like
true.
Solid
That's so
movie.
true.
It's the
yeah.
most C+ movie I've ever seen, man.
Out
Like
of
I
all
hate
the
to say it.
movies, this one.
I hate to say it, but there's not much uniqueness in Tomb Raider if you strip away the supernatural stuff. But I think like if you add the supernatural stuff, it could be a good movie, but effects cost money, and who's gonna pay for that essentially.
I mean, to be
Exactly,
fair,
like go ahead.
to be fair to effects, the only effects they would have needed if to actually like do the full Tomb Raider reboot effects would, hey, we just need to put big guys in Oni outfits and then have wind. That's all they needed.
True.
But they'd have to make sure they looked good. And there's a big you
Mm,
could do that, but
mm.
there's no guarantee to look good. But
Well,
yeah, I mean honestly, like
if they shoot it only at nighttime, and then just put a bunch of blur on the guys.
How dare you come from Pacific Rim? That movie's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it.
But yeah, all in all, like I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get one for a good long while either, just because it's not really the most attractive franchise, even in the video game sphere right now. So,
I would
like,
say, yeah, I would say if the next Indiana Jones movie pops off, and if the Uncharted sequel, which is happening, pops off, then those rights will sell with the quickness of people trying to readily sort of
Adventure. Make an adventure movie. Yeah.
readily just make an adventure movie with a built-in audience.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So
I could see a world. Sorry, real quick.
No,
I could see a world if those movies pop off a certain way where we do some team up shit in a movie. Like I could see that happening one day where they like have Uncharted have Nathan Drake and Laura Croft cross paths in a movie.
Or
I can see that world, but I'm just thinking of the rights problems that are like instantly being like, okay, for the Nathan thing to happen, Sony would want to have to buy these rights, but then you get to the whole. We'll talk about it in another story where like if this was part of the plan going forward, why would they allow X to happen? It's a whole thing.
Mhm. Real quick before we jump though, how about Indiana Jones movie? And he's like, "Hey, this is my new partner, Laura Croft."
Harrison Ford is about to
Boo.
die. Like,
He's one plane flight away. That was incredibly dark. I apologize. He's a national treasure.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so this is an interesting story. A lot of people read a lot of interesting things from this story, so I'm just going to read it as is and let us speculate away as we want to. Anyway, former Deus Ex boss unloads on Square Enix. This is from Luke Plunkett on Kotaku. So post the Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal sell off by Square to the Embracer Group. One of the former bosses pretty much gave a talk about his time with Square Enix. I'm just going to read. This interview was originally in GameIndustry.biz, and responsible reporters posted the most relevant stuff out of it. Irresponsible reporters took choice quotes out of context and tried to rebuild the narrative, but it's interesting. Okay, so here's the choice quote. This is from the dev Stefan Deastros. It's French. I apologize.
You did
The
your best.
pressure was starting to build, and my employees towards me towards my superiors. I think when people are in a crisis situation, when there's a lot of situations, you do see their core behavior or values. And I didn't like what I saw. There was a lack of leadership, courage, and communication. And when you don't have those basic things, no employee can do their job correctly, especially when you're heading a studio. I was losing hope that Square Enix Japan would bring great things to Eidos. I was losing confidence in my headquarters in London. In their annual fiscal reports, Japan always added one or two phrases. We were disappointed with certain games. They didn't reach expectations. And they did that strictly for certain games that were done outside of Japan, which is essentially the consensus that we'd all, I guess, collectively come under, and that every
Right.
Square Enix earnings call, a Western game would come out and there'd be like it underperformed. I was under the mindset that they thought it underperformed because they expected a Western game to do more for a Western audience, and they just didn't. From his words here, it's very clear that they were not just they were clearly not getting the support and help from Square as a publisher to make the games the best that they could. At least that's what I'm inferring from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the quote that sent a bunch of really bad news sites to instant headlines is, if I read between the lines, Square Enix Japan was not as committed as we had hoped initially. And there were rumors. I'm going to put some air quotes and quotation marks. Everyone's heard these rumors. These rumors, hell, I made up these rumors 2 years ago on this podcast. And there are rumors, obviously, that with all these activities and mergers and acquisitions, that Sony would like to have Square Enix within their wheelhouse. I heard rumors that Sony that they're really interested in Square Enix Tokyo, but not the rest. So I think Square Enix CEO Yosuke Matsuda-san put it like a garage sale.
Yeah. 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 Because we had a conversation about, okay, well, if they sell off Crystal Dynamics, then, you know, they'll be a bit more cheaper.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, this is in a lot in a uh, this kind of sounds like the whole Activision thing before Microsoft stepped in and bought them, but to a
Yeah.
lesser degree. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But this, I mean, just a comment on this. That is terrible. Square Enix is very bad for doing this stuff, and like from what we are to infer, like purposefully not fund this studio to help them out, and then turn around and say, oh well, you guys didn't do great. It's like that's some childish
Sucks to
shit.
suck,
Like,
basically.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. But we'll see though. We'll see, because I don't know. Like, maybe Sony will take over, or purchase Square Enix. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not super confident on that right now. I think with, like, the whole economic stuff, like everyone getting prepared for the recession, everyone in terms of the tech industry is getting prepared for the recession. And
Yeah.
is something where this could, I mean, Sony might be essentially recession proof. Like, we saw that the game industry is really strong.
Exploded.
Yeah, so, when people can't do much, everyone kind of turns to games, and that just kind of keeps games running. So maybe, I mean, it's possible Sony can be looking at that and think, okay, well, we might be good. We already released the console. The console's doing well now, so we don't have to really worry about that. We just have to worry about building the console. So I don't know. There's a lot
Yeah.
of variables.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to that point, I'm of the mindset that if Sony was going to buy Square, this is an ongoing conversation that's already been in the works, not a
Mhm.
conversation that would have like happened during or post the recession. There is the question mark, and this is me not knowing economics, of whether a recession in the United States would affect a Japanese company, especially since the
Mm.
center of Sony is outside of the U.S. And then there's the third is there's a bit of news that came out a couple weeks ago, but it was minor, so I never brought it up. In that, like, Sony hired someone as like they hired a lawyer who I believe was involved in other big like video game legal bullshit, specifically for mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
So it's like, this is a lawyer that's going to help them deal with the antitrust if they make a big purchase. And I'm like,
Okay.
I think you would make that hiring if you were in the in the middle of or working towards a big purchase. Once again,
Yeah.
this conversation that we're having right now is just rumor mongering. None of us have any real information. In fact, the Square Enix, the former Square Enix dev who brought up him talking about this also didn't hear this from Square. Also didn't hear this from Sony. He just heard it and he just sort of went with it, and it made sense with his narrative of how things went. So
Yeah. There you go.
I'm looking forward to all the Final Fantasy games being on PlayStation Plus Extra.
I mean, that's the big draw.
Well,
I mean, that
actually, I
is
mean,
the biggest draw.
like per what Sony's been doing, it would be in premium, right? Because they're old games. So the only thing that'd be an extra would be 7 remake. If it's following,
15 would be 15. What's going to happen with 16? Everything
Yeah.
going forward would be an
Yeah,
extra,
yeah.
and then the
You're
rest of
right,
them would
you're
go
right,
in
yeah.
premium.
right.
Fuck it, I will get premium if I can play Final Fantasy X again for the 15th time.
Oh, you want to hear that? Ha 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 ha
Okay,
ha.
people are just like bringing the X's out of context. If the context of that scene, it was supposed to be bad. It was supposed to be bad. He was trying to get her to come out of her shell. God damn it.
All right.
The
Well,
vector means.
before we jump into our conversation about this new Black Panther game. Hey there. Are you enjoying this episode? You are? Great. If you're listening to the podcast, then please leave a review on the podcast app that you're using. If you're watching us, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. After that, you can go to pressx2start.com. There you'll find all the information about us, the podcast, the links to all of our social media channels, and to our Discord. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Now back to the podcast. Avery, what's next?
Okay, so this is a bit of reporting that broke and brought some is very interesting. Anyway, so Jeff Grubb broke this on his own on his own individual channels, but I'm reading from VentureBeat, GamesBeat, the former home of Jeff Grubb. EA is working on a Black Panther game. So, according to Grubb, the title is in early development and is a single player affair. EA has formed a new Seattle studio founded by former Monolith Productions vice president and studio head Kevin Stevens, and who is likely working on the project. And the only bit of details we have about what the game is starting with the death of one Black Panther, players take on a character that is becoming the newest incarnation of the Wakandan hero.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, talk before anyone else says anything, because he was the only person who seemed when we brought this up in our own in the channels, who seemed genuinely excited for this.
Yes, I am
Gassed.
genuinely excited for this. I think what we received is leaked information about this, so it's not necessarily edited, or it's not ready for the press. So this is sort of essentially what we have. So we don't know if, because like during our conversations, the conversation was like, oh, is it T'Challa that died and like you play as a new like unknown Black Panther thing, or is it possible that it's like T'Chaka dies and then you play as T'Challa in this game? So we don't really know that kind of information, but I'm excited to have a Black Panther game. I am less excited that it's coming from EA. And like that's kind of where my hesitance is around this, because the last EA game that I played that was a third person kind of character adventure game was Star Wars Fallen Order, and I wasn't super happy with that game. I mean, it was fine, but like it was just fine for me. So I'm more just hoping that this new studio that's making this game is going to do a better job than Star Wars for me. So that's kind of where I'm at with this.
So, to DJ's earlier point about this is one of those interesting things about why I hate leaks in general, and I really wish that most people were able to like set the message and tempo of the game and let me criticize that instead of information that no one was supposed to know. The information that Jeff has told us is exceedingly vague and in a way could easily be misconstrued. And I think there's a lot of misconstrued with this message as it exists right now. And there's no way, EA will not confirm or deny it because that's what it's complicated. So the idea that most people are going off of is that if you're playing as a brand new Black Panther, why wouldn't you just say you're playing as T'Challa? That's the bit of info within the text of what we know that is bringing us a lot of pause.
Yeah.
I'm what some people, myself included, inferred is that you're going to be playing a brand new character to the Black Panther mythos as this brand new Black Panther, with the mindset that, oh, because you're brand new, you'll like be able to be introduce yourself, like it'll be easier to onboard you to this world of Wakanda. And I'm of the mindset, and then to second hand, if I'm an EA studio and I'm making a brand new game with a brand new character that has no place in the Black Panther mythos, 100% it will be a creative character. 100%. It would be a creative character limited to a certain skin tones, but it would be a character that you could customize.
I am the
You mean
new
to tell me
Irish
that I
Black
can
Panther.
I can make Ryan Gosling the Black Panther finally?
And
Choop,
As
choop,
God
choop.
intended.
You mean Henry Cavill? What you mean, Ryan?
and they're like, and right there, that train of thought I just went down. It's just me inferring based on information that I heard, the minor amount of information that I heard. I'm more of the mindset that Jeff Grubb probably shouldn't have said this. All he needed to say
Yeah.
was, "We're making a Black Panther game." He didn't need to report, "You're playing after the death of one Black Panther, playing as a new one." Because I'm in the mindset of, "Oh, you're just gonna play as T'Challa. Chaka's gonna be the death, and you're playing as T'Challa, and that's everything going forward." But if the other thing is true, my interest in this game goes off a cliff if that is true.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is he maybe off the like strength or off the tail of the Wakanda Forever trailer. I think that he used that rhetoric, and even though it's always been the passing of the torch, that's how you become the Black Panther, there is a transference of the title. So yes,
There's also a thing about the Black Panther being passed down between the bloodline of the Panther tribe. So the idea that you would be playing a random character that wasn't intimately involved with the Charlotte's family makes absolutely no sense. But that's me coming from that's me coming from it. They can make up anything they want. It's whatever.
no, absolutely. Because I think that was my main thing when we were like contemplating whether or not it would be a create a character, and it's like, how does that even make sense? If that's where they're going with it, how do you make that make sense? But I'm right there with you, Avery. Like, if this is a create a character, EA open world action adventure game, but with Black Panther slapped on it, then I want no part of it really. But if it is honestly just Jeff Grubb got ahead of himself and talked out of his ass, and it really is just you're playing young T'Challa, then sure, why not? Because one thing that we also talked about when we were debating about it off or in Discord was for this to be about anybody but T'Challa, or at least somebody that's not in his bloodline, and have it be the first Black Panther movie or Black Panther game would be disrespectful, considering that literally every other video game about a superhero was about their most famous and notable incarnation. And so why wouldn't Black Panther get the same level of respect?
Because they didn't
So
have a black writer in the room.
And I
probably right.
think that's where it will be interesting because I guess two things. One, I think it'll be interesting because I would hope that they would give this game the amount of respect that it deserves. So whatever the choice is made, I would want it to make sense in the actual, you know, what we know as Black Panther and the whole mythos thing. I think part of me kind of because I also the caveat to this is that I was able to read the same streets that Avery read. So essentially the Lego set for Black Panther 2 was released, and they showed who the next Black Panther is going to be. So there's that, and I'm wondering if
Fucking Lego.
well,
No,
huh?
I know who the next Black Panther is going to be, not because of a Lego set. That's just what I want to
Oh,
clarify.
okay. Well, yeah. I looked it up. So yeah, I kind of wonder if the reason why this information is vague is because I don't know. Maybe they like because of Black Panther 2, like by the time this game comes out, Black Panther 2 is gonna be out. So our story of T'Challa and Black Panther will be different because we'll have more information on it. Like it'll progress. So this game's gonna come out after that progression. So this game could sort of pull from that new progression. So we just don't know. And they because of that, they can't really say as much. Like I'm kind of getting into the weeds and like
You're
kind
getting into
of
the weeds because as everything I've learned about Marvel, Disney, and then Marvel Entertainment is as a whole, none of them communicate.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
and yeah,
yeah.
so like, there's at no point is the Marvel games people going to the Marvel movie people and being like, "Oh, so this is what your plan is for Black Panther? We want to incorporate it into our game." That's not happening. What's happening after the fact is Marvel Avengers deciding, "Oh, that Ms. Marvel skin is that Ms. Marvel outfit is really cool. Let's put it in our game." Those are the conversations that are happening.
Fan service.
But yeah, like yeah, like as Avery said, like it's kind of all up in the air. So we are just speculating, but I don't know.
It's mostly speculation. It's like this is
Yeah.
it's cool that we know a Black Panther game is being made, and I'm just taking a little bit of umbrage with the reporting in the regards of that second line of text of like you're playing as you're playing as the successor to the previous Black Panther without any other context around it, because like you can easily infer some really bad things around there, and I'm of the mindset that like to Marcus's point about Chala is the Black Panther. That character has existed for 60, 70 years. For him to not get the first run at being the Black Panther is deeply criminal, and you wouldn't see that in any other character. Like I did a little bit of research on every superhero game, and straight up the only superhero game where you're playing as like another iteration of a prominent superhero are the Spider-Man games, and that's often with Peter still in the picture. And
Right.
And there have been so many damn Spider-Man games. At some point, they'd have to diversify.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have to diversify. Like if to quote unquote, if Miles wasn't created 10 years ago, there would be no Miles in the next Spider-Man game. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it like doing if because it's just a case of unfortunate wording, so we really have to just wait and see. But like if they were to do the death angle, it'd be like starting the Batman games with Gotham Knights.
I want to be angry
Yeah.
now, though.
You can be angry whenever you want, Sean. Whenever you want.
Yeah. I'm excited for an open world Black Panther game, because if Marvel's Avengers told me anything, that you can make really cool environments out of, I guess, the fictional Wakandan foliage, and I'm envisioning an open world game allowing you to explore an open world Wakanda, which is super dope and is in the grand scheme of video games will probably be the first open world location really set in Africa as a representation of an African culture and environment. That's yes.
Yeah, I think, and I might be wrong, but I think the closest we've even got to that is Uncharted
Cry.
Lost Legacy.
Oh.
Lost
Yeah.
Did you
Legacy
say
in
Far Cry?
Lost Legacy is in India.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Yikes, Marcus. You don't know the difference
I
between
said the
Africa and India?
closest thing. The closest thing.
DJ, don't make me leak. Don't make me leak our private DMs.
But yeah,
Oh.
let's move forward.
Let's move on. Okay, so the other bit of big Jason Schreier reporting we got this year is this week was that this is from Bloomberg, is Rockstar Games cleans up its frat boy culture and Grand Theft Auto 2. So we got some big reporting on GTA 6, which is become the talk of the town, especially in an era where Red Dead 2 is Red Dead Online is falling by the wayside, and GTA Online is still going strong. The reporting is
Thriving.
the reporting is that they've made a series of cultural shifts to work to fix things like crunch, to also fix things that in terms of their narrative issues. In that most Rockstar games are really good, but they all fall under the land wow the lens of like, remember watching a 90s movie and thinking it was the funniest thing at the time, and then watching it in like 2021 and being like, wow, there's a lot of homophobia in this.
Yeah.
Rockstar has said that they're actively working towards not punching down in terms of their humor. They've also talked about how Donald Trump has made it incredibly hard to write satire in America, which is true unless you go the boys route and just make it not satire and just make it superliminal. And the big thing that we all, one of the big things we got from this is that the protagonists of these games will be a Bonnie and Clyde type, and what the Bonnie of this would be a Latinx female protagonist. So they're continuing the multiple protagonists from Grand Theft Auto 5, but they're honing it down, and we're finally now getting our first female protagonist in a Rockstar game proper.
hmm
Allegedly,
sure if you
they've cut it down
mentioned.
from 4 to 2, though.
Yes, that's why I
Yeah.
said Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, okay. And I'm not sure if you mentioned, but this is all supposed to take place in Miami.
Yes, Vice City. I didn't mention that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
you know, if it's based off of modern day Miami, then that shit's gonna get crazy. I
gonna
want
be
to fight
BBLs
Florida
everywhere.
Florida man.
There's BBLs everywhere. I want to fight Florida man. I want to fight Pitbull. I want to throw a gator at someone.
God.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you
Yeah,
could
I
throw a
mean-
gator
Yeah,
at
this is
somebody
good.
in the 80s.
Oh yeah, you definitely could. You do cocaine off of the gator and then throw the gator at someone. But no, this is good. I mean, like, it's wild that we officially have a Grand Theft Auto 6 in like the ether. Like
Confirmed,
we've
like,
known that
actually.
yeah, like it's materializing and it's weird because Grand Theft Auto 5 just seemed the only thing that existed for so damn long, like a
Decade at
decade,
this
right?
point. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
so
it's the only ongoing game that's been on 3 generations of consoles.
yeah, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Which means Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna be around for a hot minute. Like a hot minute. We ain't gonna get Grand Theft Auto 7 till we all like 50. It's
Old folks' homes.
I think it's because right now I'm showing footage of the definitive
Original
vision
Vice City.
for the Vice City. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting move that they are focusing back on Vice City, because I think that was, I mean, per my reach in terms of getting news and stuff. Like, I think this was sort of the city that everyone kind of wanted to go back to, because everyone
Well, it
really
was
loved
just
the
so
80s.
easy
And
just because they do their shit in Roman numerals and VI is 6. It just was a no-brainer.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
then also, yeah, Vice City was the one that people have been clamoring to get back to, especially after we've spent a good amount of time in
Yeah.
California, New York.
in the California, New York, yeah.
Yeah, I will be really interested to see how this works. And then I believe there was other news that it was supposed, like, I guess there was more rumors that it was going to be a multi-city game where,
Yeah.
potentially it was like along or down along the East Coast and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and part of
But
the restructuring of their studio has been like, let's not focus on ballooning this game outward and just causing like essentially crunch on the developers, and let's just focus on making a single part of our world
Very good.
very good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
So I mean, hey,
I greatly appreciate that, because I'd rather be in, 1.5 dense cities than be in like 6 like kind of
Cities where
dead
you can't
cities.
even enter a building.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Oh, for
So that's
sure.
cool.
Yeah. And I mean,
Look at
at this
that.
point, like
Nice.
Rockstar, I can't remember the last time they made a game that was subpar. So I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6, and
Yeah.
I definitely look forward to learning more about the story that they're going to be telling in these two new characters that are going to be rocking with us.
I'm excited for the soundtrack. This shit always slaps.
Be
It'll
prepared
definitely be.
for a lot of Pitbull and Rick Ross.
Yep. Right.
And DJ Khaled's he's gonna have his own radio station. Just wait.
Mm.
I mean, that'd be a good fit, though. That'd be a really good fit. Oh, man.
Okay, so our final story is a short roundup on the Annapurna Interactive Showcase, which, if you don't know, Annapurna are the developers of, well, they're the publishers of Stray. You could think of them in film terms as the A24 of video games.
Mhm.
Which I also think A24 does video games as well, which is a weird thing that for me.
A24 does video games?
I think they have a video game wing. I'm not sure.
Huh.
I'd have to do some research, but I'm gonna focus on
I
this.
can't wait to play Midsommar the game.
Yikes.
No, probably that I was like looking through my brain of every video game I played. I'm like, I probably played a game of a weird fucking Scandinavian fucking day cult. I probably played some sort of game like that, but I can't think of it
Resident
right
Evil
now.
7, right?
I was gonna say this is gonna be one of the Resident Evils.
Day cult. Anyway, so they showed us a bunch of games at the showcase. A lot of cool looking indie games. Did anyone else check it out?
I
don't
saw some of it. I think I actually no. I think I watched all of it actually.
Okay, so this is going to be a quick
Yeah, I
rundown
watched
of the bunch of games
Yeah.
they showed off. So strap in. Thirsty Suitors got showed off in like so like that was sort of like one of the big pop offs for that of the noticeable pop offs for the
Scott
showcase.
Pilgrim with a boy? With a
Yeah,
girl?
I'm super excited for Thirsty Suitors in like what it means. I just can't get over the art style. That's just me.
Yeah,
It's like it's like yeah, it just it it's it just it looks off to me, and like it ruins the impact of what I think is going to be a really dope and interesting game. And I'm really excited for Annapurna to show off. Next is Hindsight, which is a me ass game, which is a quote unquote Greg Miller ass game because I like walking simulators about the inner dimensions of gay women. So that's something I'm doing. But anyway, Hindsight.
More you know.
Yeah, Hindsight. That's why I like Life is Strange games. Hindsight looks like a super interesting game. It didn't stand out to me in terms of I can't give you like the elevator pitch of what the game is going to be, but I think it's a game in which you're like looking at the past of a woman. Yes, I believe that's through some sort of gameplay mechanic. Bounty Star.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Another game that stood out is Bounty Star: The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem, which is a like super low budget mech game. Which is like this seems more like a Devolver Digital type of game than an Annapurna type of game, but
Yeah.
it looks cool.
Yeah. That one I was like, oh, it's a mech, and I was like, you almost got me there. But it looks fun, though.
He only got a half chub.
Right? I was like, it's not NTD yet.
One thing that Annapurna does is they like to give shout outs to like developers working under their umbrella who aren't necessarily making games but have interesting stories. So I just want to shout out Yarn Owl, a studio in which a black dude from Atlanta decided he wanted to make games and started working on a game, and he met this dude from Texas. I think it was Texas, or was it North Carolina?
Same thing, man.
No, it's Georgia. It's Georgia. No, yeah, it's Texas. It's Texas.
Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, you're right. No, it is Texas. Yeah.
He met this dude online, and the dude was like, "Hey, man, you want to make a game together?" And he decided to do it. So it's a 2-man team making what looks to be a Zelda-esque Wind Waker game. So we'll see it in 2 to 3 years, hopefully. I'm super excited for it because like it's one of those cool stories where like these two dudes from different cultural backgrounds just like met over video games and decided to like work together, and now seem to be the best of friends. To the point where, like, in their trailer, like The black gentleman traveled from Georgia to Texas to stay with his coworker as they get into the sort of the nitty gritty of their game. And you're like, oh man, your dog is here. I've talked about your dog so much in the chat. It's a good story. People to run it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
All I know is you better be able to do the A-Town stomp in this game.
It's based on Wind Waker, so I doubt it.
He don't look
Oh,
like the
that
type that
attitude.
be A-Town stomping Marcus. I just peeked at the video. I don't.
We got a bunch of updates for a bunch of Annapurna games like the Outer Wilds, and a bunch of PlayStation, a bunch of Annapurna games that were unique to PlayStation are now getting Xbox and Switch and other store exclusives. So like for the Xbox fans who didn't play Solar Ash, finally get a chance to. There's a new game from the creator of Katamari Damacy. We pretty much learned nothing from it. It's just, oh, he's making a new game. It's going to be weird. Good to see that after the bombing out of Phenomena, that creator is still making content. And the game that like stood out to me the most, because it's just straight up did not look like an Annapurna game, is The Lost Wild, which looks like if someone made a how do I say this, an Outlast game, but made all the enemies dinosaurs, and it just looks like you're playing a Jurassic Park game. Everyone should check it out. It looks super dope. Like, it's one of those things where, like, it could be, you could fool me into thinking this was going to be a AAA game. That's how good it looks.
Yeah, I'm putting it up right now. Yeah, this looks really impressive. Like, I was watching the showcase with 1.5 eyes, and then when they start when they put this on, I was like, wait, what is this? Like, what's happening here? Like, I'm gonna just. No, I think yeah. But yeah, it looks really, really good. Of course, it could just be a fully CG trailer, and the actual game is like top down survival, like
Like some
isometric,
mobile
like that.
shit.
You're right, but yeah, like this is going to be a first person like dino survival game, so it looks really cool. I think they are. We don't know when this will come out, but like I think this has the possibility of being like a really big hit. So yeah.
That's everything. This was actually a chunky week for news, and so I tried to distill it into the bigger stories possible. Apologies to everyone else who didn't get shout outs here. My bad, son. We ran a bit long. All right, let's move on.
Next week. But yeah, that has been the quick hits. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoy making it. Don't forget to rate and reviews on your favorite podcasting app. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on your favorite YouTube channel. Don't forget to do all that stuff. Don't forget to eat your popcorn and stop the car before you do all this stuff, because you don't want to get into an accident. It's very bad. In case you missed any of this, you can find all details and more on the website at pressx2start.com. Remember, NTD, it's filled with space magic. With that being said, you take care, you be safe, and you keep doing what you're doing. Play some games. Peace out.
Yeah.
Oh, out.
Oh, wait. Yeah, goodbye. I zoned out for the rest of that podcast. My bad.
All right. I think we